I'm gonna feel the way I do today, because you make me feel so young.
This is the Jordan Rich Show. That is the voice of my next guest, a very fine entertainer, Philippe Harari, and his website, PhilippeHarariSings.com. Philippe is spelled Philippe Harari. And it's great to welcome you here on the 100th of Sinatra this year, Philippe.
It's a great pleasure to be with you. It's a privilege. Thank you, Jordan.
Where are you from, by the way, with a name like that and no discernible accent? Where do we hail from?
Well, I'm from New York. I'm born and raised in New York, originally in Manhattan and then Queens and then Long Island. And then, I went to different schools around the world, so I slowly lost my accent.
Well, you have an international reputation, and a good one, as a musician, singer, and you've got a band and all that. And you really focus a lot on the Sinatra songbook, not exclusively, but this must be a fun time of the year and a fun year in itself to do Sinatra.
It's an incredible privilege, to be able to represent his music. It's the most reliable music in the world. And, when people talk about cool and, the hip stuff today, it's just a matter of time before they grow up a little bit and they finally arrive at what real music is. And when it comes to that, Francis Albert leads the way for everybody. So for me to be able to sing his music, it's received everywhere I sing. It's received and asked for the most.
Well, it's interesting that he had so many different sort of levels in his career, from the big band days to the sultry Sinatra to the swinging Sinatra, and just so many things you can do as a performer yourself with the range of music.
It's true, and my first introduction to him was as a little boy. I don't know if our mutual friend told you, but as a little boy I was cast in the movie The Godfather, and I was Sonny's son. And so from the age of 2 years old, I was constantly bombarded with people telling me about Johnny Fontaine in the movie.
Oh,
and
yeah.
That was the depiction of Frank Sinatra. And then later on, I asked my dad as a little boy, who's the greatest singer in the world? And of course, he said, it's the chairman of the board. And I said, who's that? He said, Frank Sinatra. And eventually I started to hear this music, and it spoke directly to me. Even as a young boy, I heard something that I didn't hear anywhere else.
So you're in The Godfather at, 2 years old, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a difficult thing to remember what 2 years old feels like, but boy, that is something that you can tell your grandkids and great-grandkids about.
Yeah, it becomes more stunning year after year. Of course, I receive these fat residual checks of $25.68 every quarter. Listen, that's a retirement anyone should count on.
Sure, absolutely.
But no, it's an incredible thing. I have it every year. People always are more shocked by it. It's probably the greatest movie ever. And I was Sonny's son, and there's this great close-up that I was in before he goes to get shot.
But you'd never go to a toll booth after a close-up like
exactly.
that.
That's the scene right before.
So I know you're a fine singer and performer. Have you done other acting gigs in your adult years?
I peaked at 2. Where do you go after that? But let's face it, I carried the picture. Brando was nothing, and that movie would have just been a flop without me.
Hey, listen, Michael Corleone was not the only younger person we were looking at in that film.
That's right.
So when you're out singing, and you do more than a Sinatra tribute, obviously, you do all kinds of things. What kind of requests are you getting when it comes to Sinatra? What are people asking for?
It's terrific, because as his legend grows, more and more people are asking for some of the more obscure music that I love to sing. Of course, I love My Way, without a doubt, is the most requested song, and very often by ladies, and everybody can identify with the story that, and the lyrics that Paul Anka wrote. But very often people ask me for some of the rare Sinatra gems that, written by Rod McCune, people like that, in his 60s and sometimes the early 50s. And I love to sing it all. The only thing I treasure when I perform a Sinatra song is the reaction that people have. That's what pleases me, is to see that it communicates to them.
To me, and I'm a huge Sinatra fan, and certainly now a fan of yours because you're doing this, to me, the torch songs and the and the ballads from the 50s, the Wee Small Hours period, are just, whether it be Angel Eyes or One More for the Road, or even It Was a Very Good Year. You know, that sort of he sort of encompassed all of the angst that particularly men feel. Don't you agree?
It's true, and you know the thing that I always am in awe of about Frank Sinatra himself and his music is that there's a blend of macho, you know, tremendous macho with Frank Sinatra that comes with such an open vulnerability that I don't see it in any other music. You know, you can be a very sensitive, vulnerable man while being a completely macho guy at the same time. You know, it's a terrific thing. You know.
And when you look at his off-screen and off-stage life, and it's pretty complicated, but one of the things that stands out to me is how much of a forward thinker he was in terms of equality, you know, granting the same rights for blacks as whites. I mean, he's the one who brought Sammy Davis out of the shadows, in a sense, and said to others, we're not going to stand for this kind of thing.
Yeah. You know, there's always that great story of, him in the early days where he refused to check into the hotel if they didn't allow Sammy to come in, you know. So, you know, I before I started to sing about 5 years ago, I was a fairly successful businessman in finance, and I traveled the world, and somehow my singing always involved itself in my work. And the thing about Frank Sinatra is it's loved. His music is loved in Asia. I sang in Singapore for public company there. I sang in Monaco for Prince Albert. You know, I sing in New York, just now in Boston here now that I'm here. And it's taken me, it's literally his music that's taken me to some of the most incredible places in the world, you know, the Negresco Hotel, a French national landmark in Nice. And I work now, Jordan, in a Relais Chateau resort, really an oasis in the mountains of Provence near the French Riviera. and all they do is ask me for Sinatra night after night after night after night, and I never get sick of it. And I look at my life, and I look up at the mountains where I'm performing, and they have a beautiful 5-bedroom villa with a pool, and I'm looking at my life, and I say, you know, none of this would be possible if it wasn't for the body of work that Frank Sinatra left behind, that we all can get to both perform and enjoy. And it's a gift for all humanity, you know. It's not just music. It's not just music.
What a lovely way to put it. I'm really fascinated with your intense respect for it. I also respect the music and I respect the man. And just a note about you, you just told us that you were in finance. I know, very successful businessman, and some would say, well, that's it. Why would you want to do anything else? But then that's answering its own question. Of course you want to do other things if you've got a passion. So are you the guy who pinches himself most nights or most mornings when he gets up saying, I'm doing what I really want to do?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I say is you know, I used to have pinch me moments in my prior business every now and then. I've got pinch me moments every night. And, you know, if anybody asks me of my past, I'm sure, you know, a lot of people said, where the hell did Philippe go? You know, he disappeared off the map. I stopped my business overnight 5 years ago, and out of unpleasant circumstances, I changed my life and said, I'm going to do what I want every day from now on. And now I find myself in these same resorts, these same circumstances, these mega yachts that I sing on. Instead of as a guest, I'm a singer. I'm working. I'm performing. And if you had asked me then, what would you want to do? How would your life look if you retired the wealthiest man in the world? It would look the way it is now. You know, I would go to these resorts and give the manager some money and say, "Can I sing for people?" But now it's the other way around. You know.
Well, to quote a Sinatra song, "Out of the tree of life, I just pick me a plum." Man, the best is yet to come, isn't it?
It's incredible. It really is. It really is. And luck has been a hell of a lady for me.
Oh, very nice. Let me just mention your website, Philippe Harari Sings. Again, PHILIPPE. Harari is HARARI. PhilippeHarariSings.com. And before we let you go, and we're going to play more of your music, you just mentioned you've been in Boston, you've been in New York, you travel all over. So you do a lot of public events, but you do a lot of private gigs as well?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know, it's. I love to be in public venues because I get to have some of the people that, are not invited to the private ones to come, and we have lots of fun and have a crazy time. But the private events that I get invited to sing at are by some people that there's people that are dying to get a phone call with some of these privileged people, and these people become my friends, and I perform for them, and we have a very intimate, very authentic time in private venues at what could become, for example, the Winter White House. When Donald Trump one day, his private what was his residence. Mar-a-Lago, private club in Palm Beach, and I perform there every Thursday in season in Florida. And I'm passing in front of, or I should say, people, the finest people of the world and the most influential people of the world, crossing right in front of me while I sing Frank Sinatra's music, and it's a great privilege every time.
Well, good luck to you, my friend, and it's very nice to meet you, and I want to thank Richard for putting us together, a mutual friend. He's Philippe Harari. Let's listen to a bit more. PhilippeHarariSings.com, and it's not going to end with the celebration of Sinatra's centennial. It'll go on forever, which is kind of cool. Philippe, thank you so much.
That's life. That's life. That's what all the people say. You're riding high in April, shot down in May. But I know I'm gonna change that tune. When I'm back on top in June, I said that's life. And as funny as it may seem, some people get their kicks stepping on dreams, but I don't let it get me down. 'Cause this whole world, it keeps going around. I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down and over and out, but I know one thing. Each time I find myself flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. That's life. I tell you, I can't deny it. I thought of quitting many times, baby. Oh, but my heart just ain't gonna buy it. And if I didn't think it was worth a single try, I'd jump right on a big bird and then I'd fly. Oh, I've been a puppet, a pauper, a pirate, a poet, a pawn and a king. I've been up and down, over and out, still I know one thing. Each time I find myself laying flat on my face, I pick myself up and get back in the race. Yeah, that's life. Oh, that's life. And I can't deny it. Many times I thought of quitting, baby, but my heart won't buy it. But if there's nothing shaking come this here July, I'm gonna roll myself up in a big ball.